All right, so you ready to dive into this healthy lifestyle stuff?
Yeah, let's do it.
I gotta say, the guide you sent over, it's pretty in-depth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it
Eh,
is. Way more than just your typical, like, eat your veggies and hit the gym kind of advice.
Definitely. It really gets into the nitty-gritty.
I mean, honestly, I was a little surprised.
Really? What surprised you?
Just, like, the level of detail it goes into,
Oh,
Like, it's not just telling you what to do, but, like, the why behind it all.
oh, yeah, for sure. I think that's what makes this guide so unique, actually. It's not just about giving you a list of rules to follow. It's about helping you understand the science behind healthy habits, like how they actually work, and then using that knowledge to make lasting changes.
Exactly. And that's what I'm hoping we can unpack in this deep dive today. So where do we even begin with all this?
Well, the guide starts off by laying out these three core pillars of a healthy lifestyle: nutrition, physical activity, and mental well-being. And a lot of times, people think of these as like separate things.
Hmm.
But this guide, it really stresses that they're all connected.
Yeah. Like a three-legged stool, right? If one leg is weak, the whole thing is going to collapse.
Exactly. And it goes even further than that. There's this research on habit formation and how focusing on one area can actually help you in the others. Like it creates this ripple effect, boosting your whole lifestyle.
So we're not just trying to like eat better in isolation, but aim for this like interconnected improvement in all three
Yeah,
areas.
precisely.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's start with nutrition then. I'm guessing it's not just about living on like kale smoothies and salads, right?
Definitely not. The guide actually emphasizes that it's not about restriction, but more about making informed choices. Like there's this Harvard study, and it found that just cutting back on processed foods, the junk food, it can lower the risk of serious health problems by like 30%.
Wow, 30%. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. And it's not about, never having a cookie again. It's about being mindful, making those swaps, and really understanding what you're putting into your body.
So like swapping those chips for an apple, that actually makes a difference.
Absolutely. It's about fueling your body with the good stuff, the nutrients it needs to thrive.
So it's not about deprivation, it's more about like being smart about your choices.
Right. Like imagine your body is like a car.
Okay.
Would you put like the cheapest, lowest quality gas in a Ferrari?
Probably not, no.
No. You want to give it the premium fuel to help it perform at its best. Same with your body.
Makes sense. What else does it say about food? Like, are there any specific things to focus on?
Well, it talks about this thing called nutrient synergy, which sounds complicated. But it's basically just about how certain foods work better together.
Okay.
Like, how spinach is high in iron?
Yeah.
Well, if you pair it with something rich in vitamin C, like bell peppers, it helps your body absorb that iron more effectively.
Really? That's cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's like teamwork on your plate.
I like that. So it's not just what you eat, but how you combine those foods.
Exactly. And instead of getting hung up on counting calories, which can be really tedious, it suggests focusing on plate proportions.
Okay. What's that?
Simple. Aim to fill half your plate with veggies,
Okay.
a quarter with lean protein,
Okay.
and the remaining quarter with whole grains. It's visual, easy to remember, and takes the guesswork out of eating healthy.
So it's like a visual guide instead of all the numbers and calculations. I like that.
Exactly. It's about making healthy eating more intuitive and enjoyable.
That definitely sounds a lot more appealing than some of the diets I've tried in the past.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up in the idea that healthy eating has to be restrictive and boring, but it really doesn't.
So we've talked about nutrition, but what about exercise? I have to admit, I'm not exactly a gym enthusiast.
I hear you. And you
Oh.
know what? This guide doesn't advocate for spending hours at the gym either.
Wait, are you serious? You're telling me there's a way to be healthy without becoming a gym rat?
Absolutely. In fact, the guide highlights research showing that short bursts of high-intensity exercise can be just as effective and sometimes even more effective than those long, drawn-out workouts.
So instead of slogging away on the treadmill for an hour, I could do like a 10-minute HI workout and get similar benefit.
Exactly. And there are so many fun ways to get those bursts of high-intensity movement. Think dancing, sprinting up a hill, or even playing a fast-paced game of basketball.
Okay, that actually sounds kind of fun. I could definitely get on board with that.
The key is to find something you enjoy, something that gets your heart rate up and makes you want to move your body.
So we've got nutrition and movement covered. What about the mental well-being piece? I feel like that's often overlooked.
You're absolutely right. And that's where this guide really shines. It dives into the science of mindfulness and presents it as a tool to not just reduce stress, but to actually rewire your brain.
Wait, rewind my brain. Now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
So there's this study cited in the guide. It followed a group of people who practiced mindfulness meditation for just 8 weeks.
Okay.
And afterward, brain scans actually showed a measurable increase in gray matter in the areas associated with emotional regulation, learning, and memory.
So it's not just about feeling calm in the moment, it's about creating lasting changes in your brain structure.
Exactly. It's like building mental muscle.
Wow, that's impressive. So how does this mindfulness stuff actually tie into the other two pillars we talked about, like nutrition and physical activity?
Well, it's all interconnected, right? Like mindfulness can help you become more aware of your body's signals, including those hunger cues, so you're less likely to overeat or make unhealthy choices.
So it's not just about willpower, it's about actually tuning into what your body is telling you.
Exactly. It's about creating a deeper connection with yourself.
That makes sense. I've definitely noticed that when I'm stressed or distracted, I tend to make less healthy choices, whether it's food or activities.
It's like our minds and bodies are constantly communicating with each other, and mindfulness helps us tune into that conversation.
And it's not just about food, right? Doesn't mindfulness play a role in exercise too?
Oh, absolutely. The guide talks about how being mindful during your workouts can actually make them more effective and enjoyable.
Really? How so?
Well, instead of just going through the motions, zoning out while you're on the treadmill or whatever, mindfulness encourages you to really pay attention to your body,
Okay.
to notice how your muscles feel, how your breath is flowing, all those sensations. And when you're really present in your body like that, you tend to have better form, which can help prevent injuries, and you also tend to get more out of the workout.
It's like you're actually engaging with the experience instead of just trying to get it over with.
Exactly. It's about being in the moment rather than letting your mind wander to your to-do list or whatever else is going on.
So it's like bringing that same mindfulness we use in meditation into our workouts.
Yeah, it's about applying those same principles of awareness and attention to all areas of our lives.
Okay, I'm definitely starting to see how all these pieces fit together, but I have to admit, one area I always struggle with is breaking bad habits and forming new ones. I feel like I've tried every trip in the book, but those old patterns always seem to creep back in. What's the secret?
Well, the guide uses this analogy of a path in the woods.
Yeah.
The more you walk that path, the more worn down it becomes, the easier it is to follow.
Yeah.
And breaking a bad habit is kind of like trying to forge a new path.
Okay.
It takes effort and consistency to create that new groove.
So how do we actually do that? Like, what's the roadmap for ditching those old habits and creating new ones that actually stick?
Well, one technique the guide talks about is called habit stacking. It's basically about linking a new habit you want to form with an existing habit that you already do regularly.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. Like, let's say you always brush your teeth in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Right. So try adding a new habit right after that, like doing a quick 5-minute meditation or stretching routine. You're basically piggybacking on that established routine to make the new habit stick.
That's clever. It's like sneaking in some healthy behavior right under your own nose.
Exactly. And it makes it a lot easier to remember and follow through with.
What other habit hacking gems does the guide offer?
It also talks about this thing called temptation bundling, which is basically like pairing something you enjoy with something you need to do but tend to procrastinate on.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me an example.
So let's say you love listening to podcasts, but you struggle to get yourself to exercise.
Guilty as charged.
Well, try this. Only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you're working out.
Ooh, that's good. I actually might try that.
It's a way to make those healthy habits more appealing. You're basically associating them with something you already enjoy.
It's like tricking yourself into being healthy.
In a way, yeah. And the guide also emphasizes that building a healthy lifestyle isn't about being perfect.
Yeah, that's reassuring.
It's about progress. And it's important to celebrate those small wins along the way, those moments when you choose a salad over fries or take the stairs instead of the elevator.
It's like acknowledging those little victories rather than just focusing on the times when we slip up, right?
Exactly. It's about creating a positive feedback loop, not just with our habits, but also with our mindset.
Okay, I like that. What else does the guide talk about?
Well, one thing it delves into that's often overlooked is the importance of sleep.
Oh, sleep. I'm definitely guilty of sacrificing sleep when I'm stressed or busy, but I'm starting to realize it's probably more important than I give it credit for. What does the guide say about getting those Z's?
It goes beyond just saying get 8 hours.
Okay.
It talks about how the quality of your sleep is just as important as the quantity.
So it's not just about clocking in the hours, but actually making sure those hours are restful and rejuvenating.
Exactly. And it even goes into the different stages of sleep and how each one plays a role in restoring our physical and mental energy.
Wow, so it's a lot more complex than I thought. So what can we actually do to improve the quality of our sleep?
Well, the guide recommends creating a consistent bedtime routine,
Mm-hmm.
like dimming the lights, taking a warm bath, reading a book, anything that signals to your body that it's time to wind down.
Yeah, I've heard that before, but I haven't been very consistent with it.
It really does make a difference. And it also suggests avoiding screens for at least an hour before bed.
Ah, the dreaded screen time.
Yeah, because the blue light emitted from our devices can actually interfere with melatonin production, which is the hormone that regulates our sleep cycle.
So that late night scrolling session might actually be sabotaging my sleep.
It's definitely not helping.
Ah.
And the guide also talks about creating an optimal sleep environment,
Okay, like what kind of things?
making sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool, investing in a comfortable mattress and pillows, and even using blackout curtains to block out any external light.
It's like creating a sanctuary for sleep.
Exactly. It's about making your bedroom a place that's conducive to rest and relaxation.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely guilty of letting my bedroom become cluttered and chaotic, which probably doesn't help me wind down at night.
It's easy to overlook those environmental factors, but they can have a big impact on our sleep quality. And the guide also addresses common sleep disruptors like caffeine and alcohol.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that even a cup of coffee in the afternoon can mess with your sleep.
It's true, caffeine can stay in your system for hours, so it's best to avoid it in the evening. And while alcohol might initially make you feel drowsy, it actually disrupts the later stages of sleep, leading to poorer quality rest overall.
So maybe that glass of wine before bed isn't such a good idea after all.
It's probably best to save it for special occasions. And if you are struggling with more serious sleep issues, like insomnia or sleep apnea, the guide also provides resources and tips for seeking professional help.
That's really important. Sometimes we need more than just lifestyle changes to address those deeper sleep challenges.
Absolutely. And the guide emphasizes that getting enough quality sleep is just as crucial for our health as eating right and exercising.
It's like the foundation for everything else, right?
Exactly. It affects our mood, our energy levels, our cognitive function, even our immune system.
I'm definitely starting to see how all these different aspects of well-being are interconnected. It's like a domino effect.
And speaking of interconnectedness, the guide also tackles a topic that's especially relevant in today's digital age: managing screen time and combating digital overload.
Ooh, that's a big one. I feel like I'm constantly bombarded with notifications, emails, social media updates. It's exhausting. What does the guide suggest for taming the digital beast?
Well, it encourages setting realistic boundaries with technology, like maybe designating certain areas of your home as tech-free zones,
Okay, I like that.
like your bedroom or the dining table.
Makes sense. It's about creating those spaces where you can truly disconnect and recharge.
Exactly. And it also suggests scheduling specific times for checking email and social media rather than being constantly plugged in.
It's about being more intentional with our technology use, right?
Yeah, instead of letting it control us.
And what about those times when we need a complete break? Does the guide talk about that?
It does. It introduces the concept of a digital detox, which is basically taking a break from technology for a set period of time.
Like a day, a weekend, even longer.
Exactly. And it explains how even short breaks can have a significant positive impact on our mental well-being, sleep quality, and overall focus.
That sounds so appealing, but I have to admit, I'm a little intimidated by the thought of completely disconnecting. What if I miss something important?
The guide acknowledges those fears, and it suggests starting small. Maybe try a tech-free hour each evening or screen-free Sunday once a month.
Okay, that feels a lot more manageable.
It's about finding what works for you and gradually increasing the duration of your digital breaks as you feel more comfortable.
It's like building up our digital detox muscles.
Exactly. And the guide provides some practical tips for making those digital detoxes more manageable, like letting people know you'll be unavailable, setting up out-of-office replies, and finding alternative activities to fill that time you'd normally spend scrolling.
Like reading a book, going for a walk, having an actual conversation with another human being.
Exactly. It's about reconnecting with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us.
I love that. It's not just about disconnecting from technology, it's about reconnecting with what truly matters.
And the guide emphasizes that breaking free from digital overload isn't about becoming a technophobe. It's about using technology in a way that enhances our lives rather than detracting from them.
It's about finding that balance.
Right, exactly. It's about being mindful and intentional with our technology use, just like we are with our food choices, our exercise routines, and all the other aspects of a healthy lifestyle.
It's about taking back control instead of letting technology control us.
Right. And speaking of taking back control, the guide also delves into a topic that's often overlooked in conversations about healthy living: the importance of social connection.
Oh, relationships. I'm all about that. I know deep down that spending time with loved ones is good for me, but it's easy to let those connections slip when life gets busy. What does the guide say about nurturing those social bonds?
Well, it highlights research showing that people with strong social connections tend to live longer, healthier lives. And it's not just about having a lot of friends on Facebook.
Right, it's about those real, genuine connections.
Exactly. It's about having those deep, meaningful relationships where you feel truly seen, heard, and supported.
So it's quality over quantity when it comes to relationships.
Absolutely. And the guide encourages being proactive about nurturing those connections, like scheduling regular phone calls with friends, planning outings with family members, or even just making an effort to connect with colleagues or neighbors.
It's about making those relationships a priority, right?
Exactly. And it's not just about receiving support, it's also about giving it. The guide emphasizes the importance of being there for others, offering a listening ear, a helping hand, or simply a shoulder to cry on.
It's about creating that reciprocal web of support where we both give and receive care and compassion.
Exactly. And the guide reminds us that social connection isn't just good for our mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
It actually has tangible physical health benefits as well.
Really? Like what?
Well, studies have shown that people with strong social ties tend to have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and even a reduced risk of chronic diseases.
Wow, so hanging out with our friends and family can actually help us live longer, healthier lives. That's amazing.
And it makes sense, right? When we feel loved and supported, we're less likely to engage in those unhealthy coping mechanisms like stress eating, excessive drinking, or isolating ourselves.
It's like we're creating this buffer against stress and negativity by surrounding ourselves with people who care about us.
Exactly. And even if you're someone who's naturally introverted or has a busy schedule, the guide offers some helpful tips for strengthening those social connections.
Okay, like what?
Things like joining clubs or groups based on your interests, volunteering in your community, or simply making an effort to strike up conversations with people you encounter in your daily life.
It's about putting ourselves out there, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at first.
Exactly. You never know what amazing connections you might make. And sometimes those most unexpected connections can turn into the most meaningful relationships.
It's about being open to new experiences and embracing the diversity of human connection, right?
Exactly. And that's something this guide really emphasizes throughout, that it's not about following a set of rigid rules. It's about finding what works for you, what feels good, what brings you joy and vitality.
It's about creating a life that feels aligned with our values, our passions, and our deepest desires. It's about living with intention and purpose.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that we don't have to do it alone. We have each other, and we have this incredible guide to light the way.
I love that. It's amazing how this guide ties everything together. It's like not just a checklist of things to do, but like a whole new way of approaching, well, life, really.
Right. It gives you those tools and those strategies to actually, make those changes happen.
Yeah, and I've been thinking as we've been talking, a lot of these changes, like the sleep stuff or cutting back on screen time, it's almost like you have to let go of some things.
That's a really good point. And the guide actually talks about that, about embracing discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says that often to grow, you got to step outside that comfort zone. You know what I mean?
So it's not about making everything easy all the time.
Right. It's like, think of your muscles.
Yeah.
If you never challenge them, they won't get stronger.
Right.
Same with like your mental and emotional strength. By pushing past that discomfort, you build resilience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like facing those challenges actually helps us in the long run.
Exactly. It's like we're training ourselves to be more adaptable, more able to handle whatever life throws our way.
I like that, like building up our inner strength.
Yeah, exactly. And the guide suggests starting small. taking those baby steps,
Yeah.
gradually exposing yourself to new things,
Right.
and celebrating those moments when you push past that comfort zone, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah, those little victories, they add up, don't they?
They do. They really do. And it's important to remember, it's not about forcing ourselves to do things we hate or anything like that.
Right.
It's more about recognizing when fear is holding us back, when that resistance is keeping us from something that could actually be good for us.
So it's about being mindful not just of our actions, but of those feelings behind them.
Exactly. It's about tuning into your intuition, knowing your limits,
Right.
and making choices that, really align with your values and what you want for your life.
This guide is pretty amazing. It's like giving us permission to just be human,
Yeah.
Embrace the messiness, the challenges, and know that we can grow from it all.
That's a great way to put it. It's not about being perfect. It's about embracing the journey with all its ups and downs and learning from it all.
I love that. So I guess that brings us to the end of our deep dive, huh?
It does.
Wow, we covered a lot. From nutrition to exercise, mindfulness, sleep, social connections, habit building, even digital detoxing. It's a
Yeah,
lot to take in.
it is. It's a lot to process for sure. But, the key is to start small. Pick one area that really resonates with you
Right.
and focus on making those gradual, lasting changes. Celebrate those wins, learn from those, missteps along the way, and just keep moving forward,
One step at a time.
one step at a time. And remember, you've got this. You have everything you need within you. Trust your gut, listen to your body. You're the expert on you. This guide is a great tool, but ultimately, your journey is your own.
That's such a great reminder. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us today. It's been really eye-opening.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. And to everyone listening, this is just the beginning,
Yeah.
The journey to a healthier, happier you, it starts now. So enjoy the ride.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining. You've got this.